If the liberals are right, that is, if the statists are right, and Congress has the power to tell us not only that we must purchase with our own money from a private entity a private health care plan, but what the plan is to be, then I must ask you statists out there, what are the limits? I must ask you why you reject the Constitution. I don't want to hear all these inventions you come up with for skirting it and evading it. I want to know why. You know, I do not believe, you ready for this one? I do not believe you can embrace the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States and be a statist. They cannot work together. It's impossible. You folks on the left, you are endlessly, incessantly demanding more government. That runs exactly contrary to the Constitution. You are endlessly, incessantly talking about creating new rights. That runs contrary to the Declaration of Independence. You don't create them, and you can't take them. They're unalienable. This is why it's so frustrating to hear this First Lady, who's praised for going on, telling us what our children should eat, and now what we should eat if we go to a restaurant. It's just a recommendation. They're in there, in the back room, strong-arming the group that represents restaurants in this country. It's not just a recommendation. The government's taking the federal government. Bake sales for school fundraisers? Vending machines in your local public schools? Where the hell did this come from? Don't worry, Mark, it's for health. It's always for health. It's always for safety. It's always for clean water. It's always for clean air. I got it. The only people who support all that good stuff, obviously, are big government, authoritarian statist types. All the rest of us, we love drinking muddy water and breathing thick air and feeding our kids endlessly Hershey bars. Yeah, we're all the morons. Only if you're in the government, a politician or a bureaucrat, do you know how these things are supposed to work. And by the way, how did that happen? You fill out a job application, you're hired by the federal government, and suddenly you're smarter than everybody else? You get elected to public office by 3 votes. Suddenly, you know how to run the world? Where did that come from? The First Lady was utterly unknown to the American people. She had some job at a hospital, administrative job, and now all of a sudden, what a genius. She's out there with her organic garden. Did she have an organic garden when she lived in Chicago? No. Who the hell has an organic garden when you live in a city? Who the hell has one anyway? But that's beside the point. If I tried an organic garden here, the deer would eat it. She has Secret Service agents, I guess, protecting her garden. That's beside the point. This is offensive to me and should be to you as a thinking individual, as a United States citizen. I don't know. Did Lincoln's wife put out all these suggestions for what to eat and what not to eat? What do you know that, Mr. Perdue? Did Mary Todd do that? I don't think so. Martha Washington. Look, obesity is a national security issue. Well, first ladies back then didn't say stupid stuff like that, did they? No. You want to be president? Then run for president. You want to be in charge of nutrition? And then go join the A&P and handle nutrition for the fruit section of their stores. What are you doing? But here's the difference between us and them in government. They have the power to make laws, and we have to follow them. This is why they seek public office or try to be close to power, to impose their will on us. We wouldn't give a damn if Michelle Obama was in the private sector putting out suggestions for nutrition and obesity and this and the vending machines. She'd be dismissed as all the other kooks. I mean, all the rest of them. But this is different when you can summon an industry into your office out of public view without any oversight whatsoever and give them a talking to. And then suddenly you show up at your restaurant one day. Excuse me, where is my 12-ounce steak? We're following the First Lady's suggestions on obesity. It's now 7 ounces. I don't want a 7-ounce steak. I want a 12-ounce steak. We don't offer those anymore. Oh. It's like a French restaurant then. You pay 3 times as much for a quarter of the food. French have it all figured out. Anyway, This man says he's against all these attacks on businesses and all these regulations. You can't be a leftist like him and be otherwise. So there we are, a $53 billion railway they want to build. It's amazing. Now, while we're at it, the president talks about, look, you got all these profits, spread it around. Spread it around. Share it with the workers. While you're at it, share it with those who aren't workers. What do you mean? Well, here we go. Wall Street Journal today. Obama's budget proposal is expected to give states a way to collect more payroll taxes from businesses in an effort to replenish the unemployment insurance program. Let me stop with that one sentence, because that says it all. If the government makes hiring an employee more expensive, that is, imposes more payroll taxes, health care taxes, then they're not going to hire people, are they? Or they'll go overseas and hire other people, won't they? So Obama wants to tax employers more for unemployment compensation so the states don't have to raise taxes. See, Obama is about protecting government. He's about expanding government. If the states want and need more money for unemployment, then the states ought to be forced to directly fill those funds. Because in many states, they agree to terms of unemployment that they don't have to, that aren't required. Which brings us to the basic problem. Why do we need so much unemployment insurance in this country? Because, as I've said many times before, spreading the wealth, that's not what he's doing. He's spreading poverty. He's spreading misery. We spread the wealth in the capitalist system, in the private sector system. We spread the wealth every day in a billion different ways, a trillion different ways, through voluntary decisions and voluntary transactions. We spread the wealth, but without the iron fist of the government and the imposition of law. That's why there's unemployment, and it's growing and growing. That's why it's systemic, because until we remove the problem, which are these left-wing ideologues, we can't grow jobs. To hire an employee today as opposed to 2 years ago costs you a fortune more. With the health care mandates, with now the unemployment proposal, why would you do it? And then Obama tells you in 2 years he's going to stick it to you on the federal income tax. Federal income tax up. Health care costs up. Payroll taxes up. The exact opposite of what you do to create jobs and give people a chance in this country. But don't worry, we have a $53 billion railway idea that Biden must have come up with, because he likes taking the Amtrak train from Washington to Wilmington, which he's told us he's taken 7,900 times. Knucklehead. Now, some of the Senate phony moderates, the frauds who voted for government-run health care and who voted to violate the Constitution, they're trying to position themselves for the next election. They want to come up with some alternative to the individual mandate that's being challenged in court, and 2 federal judges have thrown out as unconstitutional. That would include Bed Nelson of Nebraska, Claire McCaskill of Missouri. You got to kick this woman out of office. She's a mess. And John Tester of Montana. Not only did these 3 senators vote for Obamacare, they voted against repealing it. So now they want to show you that they're really serious, though, about reforming it. They want to come up with an alternative to the individual mandate. And they're now joined by Joe Manchin, the fraud from West Virginia, who said if he had known what was in the bill, he would have voted against it, and then he votes against repeal, but he wants to come up with some things, too. Let me explain something. We, including Landmark Legal Foundation, went after the individual mandate because it was clearly, in our view, unconstitutional. But we want the whole damn law thrown out. I believe the individual mandate is the one leg on a one-legged chair where legally, if it goes down, the chair goes down. But that said, politically speaking, not what legal challenge you can make and sustain, but politically speaking, the entire law needs to go. So we cannot allow 3 stooges and a fraud, which makes 4 frauds, get away with their little tactics where they look like they really want to reform this law. Really? Well, we want to kill it. We'll be right back. Now, the Republicans give with one hand and take with the other. What do you mean, Mark? Well, one moment I'm proud of them, the other moment I'm very disappointed. Let's look at the House. I'm very proud of this. Reuters, the House of Representatives is likely to vote to block funding for President Obama's signature health care overhaul when it takes up a budget plan next week, says Eric Cantor, the Republican leader. That's great. They're also going to vote to cut $32 billion from a $3.7 trillion budget, which has an estimated $1.5 trillion deficit. That is a disappointment. You gave a pledge, I believe the number was $100 billion. Well, we didn't realize. You didn't realize what? Of course you did. Over in the Senate, Rand Paul has proposed $500 billion. You guys are going to vote on $32 billion. Now, we have $1.5 trillion deficit this year. We will, that's the estimate. And you're going to cut $32 billion. That's not serious. I don't know what's going on, but that's not going on. You're not going to appease us as American citizens who are concerned about the state of this country by voting on the one hand to defund Obamacare and on the other hand to fund the other massive parts of this Leviathan. It's contradictory. The country is headed for the edge of the cliff. You're proposing a $32 billion cut. Biden's already proposing, and Obama, a $53 billion increase. You see what I'm saying, boys and girls? You got to get a little more aggressive, think a little bit more out of the box, and slash the hell out of the federal government, or guess what? The law of economics kicks in, and it'll crumble anyway. So get to work. $32 billion isn't it? We'll be right back. Hello, my friends. Hour 2. Yes, it's Mark Levin. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Lots more to get to here. I want to finish up on this healthcare stuff. BJ, Bill Jefferson Clinton, BJ, at the World Economic Forum yesterday. Hat tip, real clear politics. Here he is denouncing his own country's healthcare system. Cut 3, go.
Michelle Bachmann said in her Tea Party response to President Obama, everybody knows we have the greatest healthcare system in the world. That is factually untrue. And so that's not true.
Stop. People are applauding him for this. Now, we'll hear the rest of it. It doesn't go on too long because we can only take so much. This is a man who had open heart surgery, bypass surgery, in New York City, one of the great heart surgeons in the country, and was taken magnificent care of, as is everyone else who has bypass surgery. And he makes a statement like this at the World Economic Forum, for which he is applauded. This is how sick the left is in this country, even the center left. Go ahead.
You can get the best health care in the world in America if you're Bill Clinton or David Gergen or Turkey Faisal. But
Stop.
that's not.
What? You know, I've had doctors and surgeons contact me, some of whom are big-time Democrats, one of whom was involved in taking care of the people in Tucson in the emergency room. Democrat. And they all make the same point. And we all know it's true. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter who you are. You need care, you get care, and you get the best possible care available. Period. If there was ever an egalitarian system, it is our healthcare system. And we, federal and state taxpayers, that is, the 50 or so % of us who actually pay federal income taxes, we are subsidizing all you folks. And what you should be doing is thanking us, not attacking us, not demanding more from us, not attacking the system, not trashing your society. You're taking and you're not giving. And you're not even appreciative. And in a sense, that includes Bill Clinton. Oh, I know he's a taxpayer. But he has an entire medical community that took magnificent care of him, as they do other people without a lot of money and without big names every single day.